Hello friend, and welcome to another video. Very excited to have you here. My name is Amy and I am a cash stuffer and a zero-based budgeter. And today we are going to be stuffing side hustle money. So today we have $400 in side hustle money and we're jumping right into it. So my intention is to make this video not super long, but knowing me, it will probably still be fairly long. But let's see. So we have 400, and first what we're going to do is we're going to go into my emergency envelope. And if you watched my last video, which I also want to say, I'm really, it's really cool and kind of crazy that I already have a few subscribers, which is really fun and I didn't expect it. And so if you're watching and having subscribed, I'm excited to have you here, and thanks for coming along on the journey. But if you watch that first video, I talked about how I take my emergency fund and I use it as my quote unquote bank. So when I say bank, I mean it a little bit differently than the actual bank, where you would deposit large, amounts, like if you bank at like a Chase or at a credit union or a Bank of America or Wells Fargo or whatever. Those are obviously actual banks. I use my emergency fund of $1,000 because it's currently fully funded. I use it to exchange out bills for either smaller bills or larger bills, so that I don't have to keep going back to the bank and exchanging those amounts. So today I have $400, but I want to stuff 3 $100 bills. So 3 of these I want to stuff. And then one of the hundreds I want to break down into, let's see, 20, 40, let's see. So we want to do, oh, I don't have any more 5s. No, that's all right. Let's see. Okay. Well, that negates the point of what I just explained to you, but that's okay because I can actually go in and find another. So this one, car maintenance, actually probably will have a couple 10s. So I'll probably need to get some more 5s actually from the big bank. But so we'll take this 10, add 2 5s, go back to car maintenance, and add it here. So that's going to go back there. So now from here, I want to take 2 5s, and then I want to take a 10. So that's 5, 10, and 20. And then we're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8. Oops. There we go. So we're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 95, and 100. So that should work. 20. Yeah, perfect for how I want to break things down today. So I'll take this 100, add it back to my emergency fund, and then the emergency fund is good to go again. So like I said, I'll have to do a bill condensing, and actually I likely won't have to go back to the bank because I can change out some of those 10s for some 5s in some of the other folders. So that might mean that we have a bill condensing coming up soon, which that'll be fun to film too. Okay, so now that we have our denominations, I'm going to place these here. I wanted to talk a little bit about side hustles. This is actually really exciting because for a long time, like I said, if you had, or if you've watched my previous video, my first video, I talked about how, a large reason, if not the reason, that I do cash stuffing is because we found out that I was pregnant while we were unemployed. And that was very, very hard, and it was very stressful and scary even at times, trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? So for a long time, our main income was based off of side hustles. And it was very unpredictable, and we didn't know when we would be having money come in. And so now that my partner, Jay, now that he has a full-time job, I stay home as a stay-at-home mom. We have that full-time income coming in. So that's our base income. And it's really exciting that we're able to use some of the side hustle income now, now that things have leveled out for him at his job and he's, settled in more or less, or is getting settled in. It's almost been 6 months, but 5-6 months, but it takes a while to onboard into something. And so it's really awesome because he does a bit of side hustling. I do a small amount of side hustling. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit today because I know that when I couldn't figure out where my money was going to be coming from, I was like, well, what are my options? And so if you are in a position where either you're just trying to figure out how to make a few extra bucks, or you want to side hustle, or maybe you are desperately trying to figure out what you can do, I just wanted to give you some ideas to consider, right? Because those are some things that really helped us going down this road. So for Jay, he does, which by the way, Jay is his initial. Maybe at some point we'll do names, but I don't know. For now, we're just keeping it on the down low, if you will. But he does watch my videos, so hi Jay. And very supportive partner. I'm very grateful and fortunate. But yeah, so he, for a long time, has done carpentry related side hustles. So things like building decks and helping people to put in their doors in their houses, like a lot of just sort of I don't even want to call it quite handyman, because it's really related to like carpentry type of things, or just doing some things with like not quite full on house renovations, but sometimes updates or upgrades. So that's a lot of what he does for side hustling when he does. And then for me, I actually, when I was, down to like not even my last dollar, but like negative amounts. And actually, while I'm talking, I should probably start stuffing. So, let's see. So 300 of this actually is going to be going to vacation. I mentioned that we have some friends coming in a couple of weeks. And so it's really exciting. It's our staycation. And it's going into vacation, which currently has 100, 200, 300, 320, 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, 330, 331, and 332. So I have $332 here. We're going to add 300 So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 620, 625, 626, 627, 628, 629, 630, 631, and 632. I probably didn't need to count it like that because, you know, we're just adding 3 big round numbers, but that's okay. It's fun. So this is going into vacation. And I also mentioned in my last video, we also have a bit of money in here for Jay's fishing license, and also for our Discovery Pass, which he did tell me when he watched the video, because I was like, is it national parks? And he's like, it's state parks. So that works out. Not works out, but that's the correction. So moving on, you know, like I said, I was doing some side hustling, and I couldn't really quite figure out what to do at first. I come from previously working in Los Angeles, so I don't think I said it in the intro this time, but I am a cash stuffer from the Pacific Northwest, the Seattle area, and this is where I primarily spent my like teenage years. Before that, I grew up in Japan, and we moved down a couple times before that. I come from a military family. And so I lived in Los Angeles for about 10 years, and I worked in the animation industry. So my full-time job was working in television animation. But after that, it's a whole journey that I'll talk about in another video, but I ended up leaving that job and went on sort of a whirlwind trip in my life, figuratively and I guess literally. But I found myself in a place before I met Jay where I was living with my parents, and that was pretty tough because, you know, I was in my 30s, and for a time, I slept on their living room floor, and while I tried to figure out what I was doing, and that was really tough, right? There have been quite a few times that because I didn't have my money together that I, you know, have ended up in a situation like that, and you know, that combined with what I've gone through, or what we went through, you know, with the pregnancy and everything, it's like, man, I really, you know, I've had times when I've had a lot of money, right? And I've had times when I've had no money, and there's these two extremes. And I just really wanted to be able to figure out, right, how can I make sure that I'm covered regardless? And so we have the cash stuffing system. So another tangent, you know, but I wanted to explain how I first got into side hustling to begin with. And I don't think that, you know, it's always necessarily you always don't have money and then suddenly you do, or you always have money and suddenly you don't. I think sometimes there can also be fluctuations, right, in our money journey. And for me, this is really, like I said, about finding some, you know, stability and balance in the way that I manage my money. So to continue on, again, the side hustling, and we're also going to be stuffing $20 for the baby because we wanted to buy a high chair, which I mentioned in my last video, and we now have, because he's been sitting up. So we previously had 20, 40, and 50. We're adding 20, so that makes 70. So 20, 40, 60, and 70. We actually already went and bought it, so this will end up going into our deposit folder, which actually I can do right now. So we're going to take this, and I'm going to put it in deposit. And then this money will get deposited either into the ATM, or I might just minus it from, or subtract it from the amount that I'll be taking out of the ATM for the next cash stuffing. So for side hustling, like I said, Jay does some carpentry type work, and then I got into doing reselling. So like eBay or Poshmark, and that was one of those things that was really confusing for me, right, at first. But fortunately, I actually have a brother who has been, he's been doing reselling for a long time, and he came to me at one point, and it was crazy. It was sort of like out of nowhere. He came over and he's like, hey, he noticed that I had some things in storage, and he was like, hey, why don't you try selling some of this stuff? And I was like, oh, I don't know. It's really complicated. And, there's so many things that I would have to learn, like applications and shipping costs. And it just seemed, a bit overwhelming. But he actually went through and he showed me how you could go and not only resell my own stuff, but how I could go to like a Goodwill, right? And find things that were in really good condition, clean them up, and resell them, right? And that's what people do on eBay and Poshmark, right? And I did that for quite some time, and I wasn't making huge amounts of money because, I was just starting out. But I did make a good enough amount where I started rolling the ball, right? And even now, I still have some things that are left from that time period that I hadn't sold. And so recently, it's not included in this amount, but I sold, what did I sell? I just sold something. Oh, it was a jacket. It was a jean jacket. And the profit I made was like $14. And the reason it's not included today is because I already went in and bought something for the office, which is a paper cutter. And so since I took it out of, since I bought it online, I just went ahead and canceled it out online because the money that came in was like $14 and the actual thing cost $14. So, it wasn't necessary for me to take it out just to rebalance my books, if that makes sense. So anyway, if you've never done Poshmark, if you've never done eBay, I would recommend starting with Poshmark because it is super user friendly, where you just list your items online and the postage is covered, the shipping costs are covered by the person who actually buys the item, as opposed to you trying to figure out, how much does this weigh, and how much is it going to cost. Poshmark will also actually allow you to pack things in like any box from the post office, and the post office will give you those boxes for free. So if you have like $5 to your name today, and if you ask me, well, what should I do with this $5? And you need to figure out a way to make more money, you can buy something for, a couple of dollars at the Goodwill, clean it up, make sure it's nice, and put it online. And there's also a way that you can go about online figuring out what will sell versus what won't, because you might be like, well, how do I know if it will even sell or not? And so if you're interested in learning more about that aspect of side hustling, also let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to do a video on that, how to go about and figuring out what is worth selling, what will actually, the probability being much higher for you to be able to sell that thing. Then I'd be more than happy, like I said, to create a video about that. But yeah, so I just sold a jacket, and I do still sell. I have a very small inventory, if you will, just things that are left over. And I think I sell maybe one thing a month now still, which isn't a lot, but hey, that's still $14-15 or $20 or $5 or whatever here and there that comes in. That's money is money, right? And everything is useful, especially when you're cast stuffing. So again, a bit of a chatty video, but I just wanted to share, some of these options, because some people are struggling, and you might be one of those people who are struggling, and we're still hustling, right? So everyone is just, doing their best to save for a better future, and for more stability, or whatever your reason is. So anyway, let's see. Next we have 25 for gifts. So this amount is actually going to be for Jay, because he's been working so hard. And so I'm going to stuff an amount for in here. So part of this will go to a birthday present. Part of this will go to some baby shower stuff. And then we have this 25, which is the start of a gift that because both of our money will be getting for Jay. So currently there's 20, 40, 45, and 50. We're adding 25, 20, 40, 60, 65, 70, and 75. 75 in gifts. So I know that a lot of people will also do Uber Eats and DoorDash, which I think is awesome. I've never done it myself. I used to take a lot of Ubers when I was when I lived in Los Angeles. But, I've always thought that's a great way to be able to make additional money, delivering food. Currently I have a baby, so even if I wanted to, that would be a bit of a challenge. But I will say again, when I was living for a while with my parents, and I was like, oh man, I ain't got any money. I remember, some days going to everyone in the house at night, and which is when I know everyone's snack attack hits. And I would just go around and being like, Uber Eats, right? And not actually Uber Eats, but I was joking that I was Uber Eats, meaning, no app or anything. But if anyone was having a craving, to let me know. And I would, for a flat fee of $5, go and pick up their snacks, right? Which again, that's very humbling and a bit embarrassing, right, at times. But it's like, if it makes me an extra $5 or $10 here or there, because they didn't want to get up at 9 o'clock at night and go and grab themselves a snack, right? But they wanted their snack. So you find a need, you meet the need, and you make money. So there are some times when I did stuff like that, to just make a few bucks here and there. And, if I were going to the store anyway, I'm not going to charge my family, right, to just pick them something up on the way. But if I was going out of my way, and they happily paid it, right, like they wanted their snack. When you want your ice cream or your chips or whatever, like, it's like getting actual Uber Eats. I just lived at the house. And so, I really recommend, like I said, the whole reselling situation, because you can sell things that you have in your closet, and you can also sell things that you find at the Goodwill or Value Village or the thrift store, Salvation Army, wherever. And so then we have 55, which is going toward self-care. So I mentioned in my last video, I was like, oh, it's going to be a while until I stuff this envelope, because it has, nothing in it. And I was like, oh, something good's coming. And something good is coming. But in the meantime, Jay actually insisted, when he was side hustling, he was like, you have to put a portion of that towards self-care for yourself. And so, like I said, I really appreciate him. He's so supportive. And it's also why I wanted to put money aside for him for a gift for him, because I know that he'll just tell me that, you know, he doesn't need it or whatever. And I just want to make sure, you know, that, oh, you can see my mic cable, which is another thing, actually. I'll talk about it in my next video, I guess, but hopefully the sound quality sounds a little bit better. I got a microphone. Hopefully it doesn't sound a bunch worse. That would suck. Or if it's not even recording the sound on this, I guess we'll see. So if this video is up, that means that it recorded. So again, just a few side hustle ideas. This isn't like a top 10 side hustle ideas, you know, video or anything, but like I said, I'm more than happy to record a video about what I was doing, and the technical actual aspects of, like, you know, how to figure out what to sell. But there are also a ton of YouTubers. If you go onto YouTube and you search, you know, reselling or eBay or Poshmark, because yeah, like it's a huge industry, I guess, and it's very, very, what am I going to call it? It can be lucrative, right? Depending on how much time you devote into it, like anything. And as I think of side hustles or do different things potentially, you know, absolutely, of course, I'd love to share. If you have a side hustle that you do, definitely leave them, or if you could leave it in the comments, that would be awesome, to help somebody else maybe who's looking for a potential side hustle, right? That's a cool side hustle to do. And, you know, I will mention, because it is, I don't know about you guys, but it has been hot. And we're in the Northwest, like we're outside of Seattle, and it has been over 90. So Jay made me an iced tea, and I love iced tea. And when you make it, if you just put in the hot iced tea some honey, super, super good. I'm gonna take a sip right now, actually. So anyway, get that right out of frame. So yeah, if you have any ideas and if you'd like to share them, I would love to hear those. That's pretty much it for the actual stuffing portion of the video, which I guess means is it for the rest of the video. I feel like there's something else that I wanted to say. Oh, the other thing about reselling that's really cool. I know that sometimes, especially when you don't have money, it can be really tempting that when you do have some money, like you want to spend it. And being able to spend money, it's a good feeling, right? It feels like you have your stuff together and like you have some extra to spend. The good thing about doing reselling is that you get to go shopping, but you get to make money off of the thing that you shop for. So, you know, if you just, you know, want something to do sometimes even, and maybe you don't need a huge amount of money, but you don't want to go necessarily spend a lot of money, this is a way that you can both spend and make. So, you know, I have a lot of different ways that I think about things just to sort of trick myself into being a little bit more content in the moment, because like I said, not having money at times, you know, can really suck. And fortunately, you know, we're finally in a place where we can spend a few dollars here and there, and it doesn't break the bank. Thanks again to Cash Stuffing. I sound like a total sponsor of Cash Stuffing, but I'm telling you, I love it so much. It's brought so much more security and stability and peace of mind to be able to manage our money well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you subscribed to the last video, I appreciate you so much. If you like this content and you'd like to see, you know, some more videos like this in the future, I would love it if you considered subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, I hit 30 minutes and it was like, you're done, lady. Okay, so where I left off. If you like this video, I greatly appreciate your like, your thumbs up, and yeah, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, guys. Bye.